Peter Valley, FBAmaster.com here. In this video, I'm going to talk about Amazon sales rank, how to look at Amazon sales rank and know roughly what it translates to in terms of how often the book is selling. I'm going to break Amazon sales rank down from the millions and millions of different variations of it down into 8 categories. You can very simply take a glance at Amazon sales rank and translate it into how often that book is selling. The real question we need to answer in this video is, why did I choose this stupid looking image for the thumbnail? You would probably get the impression there's going to be lots of yelling in this video by looking at this. There's only going to be a little bit of yelling, so no need to be concerned. What we're going to cover in this video, in part 1, very quickly, I'm going to give you a brief definition of Amazon sales rank. Part 2, the main part of this video, I'm going to give you the 8 categories of Amazon sales rank. And in part 3, 2 ways to know a book's demand without relying on Amazon sales rank. Okay, now here's what you don't want to do with Amazon sales rank when you're making a sourcing decision. You don't want to have to memorize every single Amazon sales rank and what it translates to in terms of how often that book is selling. In other words, you don't want to pick up a book and be like, okay, this is ranked 2.3 million. That must translate to roughly 1 sale every 16 days. You don't want to do that. In fact, it's not even possible to do that. Amazon sales rank is way more complicated than simply looking at a number and then converting it into a number of sales. That's not how Amazon sales rank works. It factors in sales history of a book, how many items have sold that day on Amazon. Very complicated. Now, since there's theoretically like 40 million Amazon sales ranks, you don't have to memorize every single one. Like, what does this mean, right? So I'm going to break this down into 8 categories. I'm going to distill 40 million down into 8. So if you can remember a phone number, okay, you can remember what I'm going to teach you in this video. The other thing you don't want to do with Amazon sales rank is rely on third-party sales estimate figures that aren't Amazon sales rank. I did a whole video on one called eScore that's almost completely fraudulent. There's another one. I haven't even named names yet with this one. I may or may not do a video on this one, but the point is almost all of the sales estimators I've seen out there are almost completely fake. I don't know if they're intentionally fake or accidentally misleading, but they're not accurate. At the end of this video, I'll give you one that I think is like pretty good, but the bottom line is there's no substitute for actual Amazon sales rank. By the way, kind of a side note, I did this video on eScore, which is used by a tool called Scout IQ and some other tools. And I proved it's like completely fake. Kind of funny, that was the only video I've made where I got like a few thumbs downs. You know, you click on YouTube, like the thumbs down. I got a few thumbs downs, and it's just kind of shows there's people out there who when it's proved they're being lied to, they'll start defending the people lying to them rather than admit they got lied to. Kind of a weird thing. That's what I learned from that video. Anyway, now this is not a sales rank 101 video, but I got to knock out 6 quick facts for the uninitiated. Number 1, Amazon sales rank is Amazon's measure of an item's demand. Number 2, Amazon sales rank also goes by bestseller rank or BSR, so those are interchangeable terms. Fact number 3, it is impossible to translate sales rank into an exact number of sales. Literally impossible for the reasons I already mentioned. Number 4, the lower the number, the better an item is selling. In other words, the rank of number 1 is the best-selling item in that category, and so on. Number 5, every category has its own sales rank. So you can't have 2 items ranked sales rank number 50 in the books category, but you can have a sales rank number 50 in books and a sales rank of 50 in, say, toys. Fact number 6, an item with an average Amazon sales rank of roughly 150,000 or higher, meaning a higher number, is selling an average of less than 1 copy a day, whereas an item with an average rank of 150,000 or better in the books category is selling an average of more than 1 copy a day. Now, that's not an exact figure, and it's just what we're going to use as a nice round number to kind of think in terms of better than 1 copy a day or worse than 1 copy a day. Now, here is a commandment of Amazon selling, not the number 1 commandment necessarily, but a commandment on the, we'll say, top 10, is sales rank is a factor and should be a factor in every single buying decision that you make. You should never purchase anything for sale on Amazon without considering its Amazon sales rank. Okay, so are you guys ready for the 8 levels of Amazon sales rank? Well, before we get into it, I got to do the obligatory stuff. My name is Peter Valley. I've been selling on Amazon for over 15 years. I'm a super uncool web guy. I do the website FBAmaster.com. I'm sort of the world's most published author on Amazon selling, which is factually correct, but it's a little bit misleading because it's not like anyone really buys my books. But factually speaking, that is what I am. And in case any of this made you think I'm in any way a legitimate human being, you can look at this photo. This is what I normally look like, a complete colossal doofus. And the obligatory subscribe to the YouTube channel, like the video, and head over to FBAmaster.com where you can get all the free stuff you see here, free reports, free web classes. You can build an entire business off of what I give away for free. If you do not subscribe to the YouTube channel right now and do not go to FBAmaster.com right now, which is there's a link above and below this video, I will come to your house and rearrange your furniture. So don't test me. Subscribe and go to FBAmaster.com right now. And because I have to keep my YouTube videos for under 20 minutes, I wrote a whole article version of this video that's a little more in depth than I'm able to go into in this video. So you can read the article version of this video at fbamastery.com. There's a link above and below. Okay, you guys, here we go. The 8 categories of Amazon sales rank. Are you ready? Category number 1, what we call best sellers. This is a sales rank of 1 to 50,000. We're going to put all these in the same category that we're going to call best sellers. What this translates to when you see a sales rank between 1 and 50,000 roughly is that these books are selling multiple copies a day, and they're going to sell very fast almost no matter what you do. In other words, there's almost no way to go wrong with a book in this sales rank range. Doesn't matter how you price it, doesn't matter really anything. It's going to sell fast. So when you see a book in a bestseller category, the only way to really screw this up is to do something completely outrageously stupid like price it higher than Amazon's offer or just something completely lunatic level, okay? Otherwise, it's impossible to mess this up. Number 2, there's really no need to reprice books in this sales rank strata that often. They're going to sell no matter how you price them at. Again, as long as it's priced below Amazon. Now, I don't want to say always going to sell no matter how you price them. Of course, there could be so many competing offers that theoretically you can never sell at a certain price. But the bottom line is you don't really need to reprice books in this strata that often. The price going up and down, up and down, up and down like dozens of times a day. And you could just pretty much throw a dart at the wall and your book's going to sell at that price eventually. Category number 2, what we call the daily seller category. These are books that are selling around 1 or 2 times a day. This is the sales rank strata between 50,000 and 150,000. These are books that are going to sell pretty quick, almost at any price, just like the bestseller category. They're just not selling quite as often. Now, the only thing I'll say about this category to keep in mind is this is where I start to kind of get mildly conscious of the data on my scanning app. In other words, I'm not just seeing the rank, like if a rank of like 10,000, I'm just going to grab that book and throw it in my cart, basically, as long as the pricing looks okay, as long as the value's there. With this strata, I'm just going to take a half a beat and just kind of look at the data on my app and just be a little bit conscious of what I'm looking at. But again, you don't need to be conservative by any stretch. These books are going to sell fast. Category number 3 is what we call the safe bets. Is a very comfortable sales rank range. This is a sales rank range of 150,000 to 500,000. These books are selling at least once every few days. Now, the reason I call them safe bets is they're selling often. I'm not going to say necessarily this is where the majority of the books I sell are. Maybe. No, probably the average is going to be a little bit beyond this, a little bit worse than this. But again, these are books that are selling very quickly. You don't need to overthink it. As long as the value's there, you can pretty much guarantee you're going to get a sale. And the only thing I'll really say about the safe bets category is this is where I start to kind of get a little more mindful of the data, like, what's my buy cost, et cetera, just because it's not as much of a sure thing that the book's going to sell fast at the exact price I expect it to in this strata. But once again, no need to get conservative with your buying decisions when in this strata. These books are going to sell quickly. Category number 4, what I call the weekly sellers. These are books that are selling at least once a week. So of course, a rank of 500,000, it's going to be selling considerably more than once a week, and a rank of $1 million is probably going to be selling about once a week, maybe every 10 days. But again, I put these all in the same category. They're selling about once a week. Now, this is the range where I start to ask the question, would I still buy this book if the price drops significantly? Because remember, when a book's selling about once a week, we don't really have any guarantees that things aren't going to change by the time those books hit the warehouse, right? If we're an FBA seller, or by the time they get a sale, or by the time you list them for sale, if you're a merch fulfilled seller, things can change, right? By the time between when you list them and when they sell. So, just because they're selling about once a week doesn't mean your copy is going to sell in the next week, right? So I start to kind of ask the question, okay, so if things shifted, if the price dropped, if I didn't get a sale at the price I'm expecting to, would I still purchase this item? And again, even with these, we don't need to be conservative with our buying decisions. We just want to start to ask these questions and be conscious. Category number 5, the monthly sellers. This is a sales rank of between 1 million and 2 million. These books are selling 1 or 2 times a month, which again, still isn't bad, but it's not amazing either. Now, monthly sellers, this is the range where I start to ask an interesting question. I start to ask the question, as an FBA seller, this is not relevant to you merchant fulfilled sellers. As an FBA seller, ask the question, if I match the lowest merchant fulfilled price, would I still purchase this book? In other words, this is the range where I start to kind of say, you know what, I might not want to place a FBA pricing premium on this item. In other words, I might not want to price higher as an FBA seller. I might want to match the lowest merchant fulfilled price. I'm going to be a lot more likely to do that as we get towards 2 million than I am at 1 million, but I'm still asking the question, If I master the lowest merchantable filled price, would this book still be profitable? And the answer needs to be yes. Whether or not I decide to price higher as an FBA seller is a different question, but the book needs to still be profitable at the lowest merchantable filled price for me to purchase an item in this strata. Category number 6, what we call the long tail. This is a sales rank of 2 million to 4 million. Now, these are books that are selling at least once every couple of months. An important thing to understand about this strata is you only want to purchase books in this strata if the potential profit compensates you for your risks. If a book's only selling once every couple months, you have no idea what's going to happen in those 2 months, and you may not get a sale in the next 2 months. It's no guarantee, right? You might not get a sale for 6 months or more. So a lot can change in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months, right? So you want to ask the question, is this book profitable enough to compensate me for the risk that I'm incurring by buying this book? Now, the risk might be almost zero if you're paying, 50 cents for a book, but if you're paying like $4 or $5 for the book or more, then obviously the risks are greater because you've got a greater buy cost. But you want a book to be worth a significant amount of money. Like for me, it's going to be definitely like $20 and up. If you're bringing a book into your inventory in the 2 to 4 million sales rank strata. Category number 7, what I call the wild cards. Wild cards are you have no idea how often this book is selling. This is a sales rank of 4 million and beyond. They're called wild cards for a reason. You just don't know what's going to happen. You have no idea what this book's going to sell for. You have no idea how often it's selling. It's just a giant question mark. A book with a sales rank of 4 million or worse could have sold anywhere from, a couple months ago to years ago, right? So again, it's just, a total wild card. So books in this range, you've got to reduce your risk by knowing your numbers. This is where I want to kind of start to look at like, what's the price and history of this book? I want to start asking questions like that. So I know, hey, is this a safe bet? Even if it might not sell for 6 months, or am I just throwing money away? Sales rank category number 8. This is the category I just bluntly call you are literally gambling. Okay. What this means is these are for the book strata where the books have no rank at all, no sales rank. A lot of people don't know what that means. That means a book has never sold a single copy on Amazon. Now, not always. In the last year or two, actually, Amazon has started kind of making sales ranks invisible. So it's a little bit confusing because sometimes there will be a book and it has no sales rank visible, but the book actually has sold copies in the past. We don't really know why Amazon's doing this, but most of the time it means a book has never sold a single copy on Amazon. Now you might be thinking, oh, okay, well I should just like put a book like this down and run the other way. Actually, no, because a book that has never sold a copy on Amazon can mean one of two things. Either there's no demand for the book at all, which is a bad thing, of course, but just as often, if not more often, it means there's not supply. In other words, there's pent-up demand, but no actual supply. So if you've got a book with no sales rank, and it's a book that has no sales rank only because of low supply, you can command insane prices for that book, right? If I've got a book that has no sales rank, I will list it at a minimum of $25. If I decide that a book has no sales rank simply because there's no supply. Now, obviously, and I probably should have led with this does not apply to books that have no sales rank where there's a tons of sellers, right? So tons of sellers, you already know there's a supply and there's probably just not a demand. But just because there's lots of sellers does not necessarily mean there is no demand. It just means there's no demand at the price those sellers are listing the book at. So if you've got a book with no sales rank and there are a bunch of other sellers, look at the price that book is listed for. If it's priced really, really high, it just means the market can't really bear that price. So in other words, if you had a bunch of sellers that are listing the book for $99, maybe you might want to decide, based on the subject matter, I think there is a demand for this book. I'm going to list mine at $25. And oftentimes you will get a quick sale. It's kind of interesting. It just means there's pent-up demand, but no one is willing to pay the price as other sellers were asking. Okay, now I just made Amazon sales rank really, really easy for you. I broke it down into 8 categories. We're not done yet because I want to give you 2 ways to measure a book's demand without relying on Amazon sales rank. So there's actually 2 ways. Number 1 is Keepa. Keepa's drops. So if you look in Keepa and go to the statistics tab, it'll pop up a little window, and if you have the paid version of Keepa, by the way, and you will see how often a drop has happened. Now, a drop roughly translates to sales, but not always. So you'll see drops. I forget. It's like I think Keepa breaks down by 90 days, 180 days. So you'll see that basically what that number means approximately is how many sales have happened in the last 90 days or 180 days. Okay, it's not an exact figure, so just be clear about that. But that's one way to estimate sales without relying on Amazon sales rank. Number 2 is Scoutly's sales score. Scoutly's a scanning app, if you don't know. The one I recommend personally. I have no skin in this game. I don't own Scoutly or whatever, but it's just the app that I think is best. Way better than Scout IQ. and they have a feature called Sales Score. Now, to be fair, I haven't done a thorough audit of Sales Score as to how accurate it is, but every time I've compared it to other sales estimators, it's definitely more accurate. So I consider Keepa to be the gold standard. So I use, when I look at Sales Score and in Scoutly and I compare it to Keepa, it usually matches up pretty close. So I'm pretty confident in Sales Score. Okay, guys, I threw a lot at you in this video. You now have a 3-part mission. Are you ready? Mission number 1, subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can build a whole business off of what I give away at fbamastery.com and my YouTube channel. You would be clinically insane to not subscribe right now. Hit the link right now. Mission number 2, head over to fbamastery.com. There's a link below this video. Get all the free stuff you see here. Again, you can build a whole business off of what I give away for free at fbamastery.com. Mission number 3, take what you learned in this video and put it into action. Go make money with it. Thank you guys. This is Peter Valley signing off, and I'll see you in the next video.